Something in my brain causes stress. So come on, make me feel different. You wanna hold, don't hold back. Oh, your little dramas got me mad. And I don't need to tell you facts. You know I always want you back, girl. I could give you a big bad surprise. Let you take your time. Sure you wanna die. Treat me nice and I'll save you a slice. Baby, it's time to slide. Do you wanna try? No, it's true. It's what we do. Yeah, I know. It's true. It's true. It's what we do. Yeah.
First of all, I got no regrets, but a twist and a turning, got no success. I remember the first time that we two met, the love in the chugging, can't forget.
Hi guys, welcome back to the vlog. It is the 5th of July and it is Camp Nano. No writing has been done so far for Camp Nano. The only writing I've done is that I started my idea dump for my East of the Sun, West of the Moon inspired book, but working on my actual Viking book, that has not happened so far the last 5 days. But I have come to the conclusion, I guess unfortunately and fortunately at the same time, that I am just naturally a night writer, so I just need to stay up. I'm still going to do a 30-minute sprint during lunch, but like for the bulk of my work, I feel like, especially editing videos or doing anything creative, it's just better if I do it at night. But on days like today, which is a Wednesday, when I go into the office, I was in the office for a bit, came home early, still gotta do some more work. I'm too tired from waking up early and driving and stuff to function if I don't take a nap. So basically it means I go to the office, come home, finish up my work, take a nap, wake up, cook dinner, and then hang out for a little bit before Steven goes to bed, and then while he's asleep, I'm just writing. So that's kind of the plan that we're going to operate on for the rest of Nano and just for this Camp Nano. See if it actually does in fact work, if I'm more productive, if I do more things, and if it does, then that's just the way we're going to continue operating. Hi guys, it's the 6th, and today I have a little mariachi band inside of my head drilling on my temple, just right here. So I don't know how productive I'm going to be. I felt it coming on last night, and I swear it needs to go away already. I have drank plenty of water, so I know it's not my fluids this time. I don't know why my brain does this. So I did write last night a little bit of the, it's almost like an outline, it's almost like a brain dump info, but I'm doing it a little bit cleaner than I normally would. So I'm basically writing out all the backstory, all the curse stuff, all the backstory mysteries of the town, and just kind of putting it in order of where I imagine it happening. So it's kind of just like writing out in very plain terms how the story goes, and then I might use that to break it down into an outline and actually choose what happens in certain chapters, move things around a little bit. So I have never done this exactly before. Usually I would just like info dump all of the plot. This is a little bit more structured than that, so it's taking a little bit longer because I'm actually planning to be working on this book simultaneously with my Viking one. Then it kind of needs an outline, it kind of needs some direction, so we're going to be doing that for the next however much of time until it's done. I'm still going to take my 30-minute lunch today to do sprints with the Viking book so it doesn't go into the sidelines. So that's kind of the basic idea, is to just do 30 minutes a day, usually on my lunch breaks, of writing sprints for the Viking book. Do the outline until it's done and I'm ready to start working on the actual physical book for the East-West Whip, and then hopefully my life has gotten to a point where I can prioritize an hour out of my day for writing in 2 different 30-minute sprints, or more than that if I can. It'd be great, but that's a nice minimum, would be an hour a day working on books, 30 minutes on the Viking book, 30 minutes on the East-West Whip, and just trade off. And I feel like I will be able to have more brain capacity to work on writing stuff if I do it this way. So that's kind of the hope going forward. We'll see if that actually works, or if I end up just abandoning one of the projects entirely to focus on one only. This will kind of be a test to see whether or not I should work on multiple projects at a time, or if I shouldn't. Because I've barely vlogged, this will be another 2-week vlog, so no upload this week unfortunately, but hopefully we'll be up to 2 videos a week very soon. Okay guys, so wrote, finished work, and then took a nap to hopefully get rid of the migraine or headache that was brewing. Sorry for the coughs, Steven has strep throat, but luckily, here's the guitar. Luckily the nap did help with my headache, just a quick hour nap. So I'm going to do a little bit of writing right now, but I'm going to be doing it in the East-West Whip outline thing that I'm doing. But I don't know what I was writing with the Viking book. Very excited about. It was basically the first kind of intimate moment between Adelaide and Karsten. It was sort of her explaining why she doesn't like him. And I'm very happy with how it turned out so far. Now it's kind of a transitional scene that I need to figure out still, so I'm giving that a break so that I can permeate in my mind as to what the transition between that scene that got interrupted by one of my favorite characters in the book, that sort of moment going on, and so I need to decide what kind of transitional scene is going on, or if I'm just going to skip and do a time skip straight to the location that they're trying to travel at. I think I need to look at how long the chapter already is and decide that, or if I get an idea that needs to take place in that transitional period, then I'll do that as well, because I know there's 2 characters that she is traveling with that she really needs to talk to outside of Karsten. Let that simmer in my mind for a little bit, and then work on the outline for the East-West Whip for now. Oh my god, Salty. It was the biggest sigh. You act like your life is so difficult. It's so hard being a puppy who doesn't pay rent, doesn't have a job, just lounges around all day and gets to play with some nice people who feed them and love them. It's so difficult. Alright, so I'm gonna do some writing on the outline for now, and we'll see how far I get into that, and hopefully I'll be able to let you guys know like what is happening with it. I know I plan to create this book. I already found 2 agents who comped one of my comps. Managed to push list for this thing, so I'm going to keep working on this and we'll let you guys know how it goes. Actually, before I start working on the book, there is something else that I have to figure out, and you guys can let me know whether or not I'm crazy for this, or whether or not this is a good idea. But I'm wondering if, along with the outline, I need to figure out a bunch of different characters, because basically what's going on with the story is that there is a lot of things that happened in the past that have a lot of prevalence in the town that exists today. And so there is a lot of family lines that happen. So I'm kind of wondering if I need to figure out the family lines, at least for the periods of time that we're kind of not flipping back to, but I feel like there's going to be flashbacks, there's going to be like little snippets of like writing throughout the town that they're finding from old residents and stuff, and it's all like families who still exist today in the town, and those histories and stuff are very important for the plot. So I'm kind of wondering if I need to figure out the genealogy of these families and picking names for specific ancestors from specific points of time where we're kind of jumping into the past with them a little bit, and their stories hold prevalence for the story today. I don't know how much those older stories are going to be impacted, or how much they're going to impact the other family lines, but I know for the two main characters, those family lines are literally crucial. I cannot have the book without them. So I know I need to get them, but I don't know how much I should dive in deep to the other families as well, and how much genealogy I'm planning to do, because I love genealogy, and this is the first book where I'm going to play around with it, but I don't want to plan so much and then feel like I don't have wiggle room afterwards to play around with anything. But I'm just gonna have to figure that out a little bit. So that's something else I think I need to plan before I can actually start reading this book, is that I need to figure out the genealogy and the family trees for these families. Yeah. And mind you, like, this genealogy goes back to the Viking times, so that's like a lot to go back a good 1,000 years. Is it 1,000 years? How long ago was the Viking Age? I feel like I'm close. This is the rabbit hole writers fall down all the time. How long ago? Okay, yeah, it was literally, oh wow, this is fucking perfect. Okay, the end of the Viking Age, it says, was the year 1066, which was 954 years ago. My book is near future, so I set it in 2040, so 20 years from now, which by the time this book is out, maybe it will be 2040, it won't even be near future anymore, who knows. But that would place this book at about exactly 1,000 years since the end of the Viking Age, which is kind of funny in that way. Yeah, but I could actually set it exactly 1,000 years since the original events that happened in the Viking Age happened, and just do the math like that. So, but that, again, it still means it's exactly 1,000 years of family lines I need to peruse and go down. And granted, some people, like, when you say that, it is far and it's a lot of things to figure out on your own and names to invent yourself. However, it's not actually historically, like, that far away if we actually look at things. Like, in the grand scheme of the world of humans, like, that's not that far away in time. And that's, like, kind of a point in the book as well, is that, like, it's near future, so we've found out different scientific stuff. Historically, the timeline for history of humankind has kind of changed a little, and one of the bases for the story is that the town that they're in on Vancouver Island was founded by Vikings, and that throughout history people just kind of forgot that fact. But we already know recently that we've found Viking settlements in Canada. They were in Canada. There's a lot of debate as well of whether or not they were actually in the United States, what is now considered the United States, for a period of time as well. I personally think so. If you ask specific people in specific towns in the US who say that they were originally settled by Vikings, they 100% believe so. There's a couple different towns like that. And so this story is kind of based off of that idea and concept, if you will. So the kind of background plot for this story is that this town on Vancouver Island was originally settled by Vikings. They have Viking settlements that were there, and still to that day in 2040, people are saying, oh no, Vikings did settle here, but then they left. Like, these aren't the same original families. That would be crazy. That, you know, that'd be the first actual settlement. But in this story, at least, no, it's the same families. So obviously they can't prove their own genealogy going back that far. I think, but even with my family tree, the farthest I've been able to go back was, it was a little bit, actually. It might be around that time, but for most people you can't really do that, especially if this is in a Viking settlement where there was more so runes rather than parchment, and stone carvings, and not kept record until a more recent period of time. There's more so like oral legend and things like that. And it kind of also comes down to the fact that the indigenous population of this world has been saying that white man lived on the island since the Viking Age, and just no one believes them, because that unfortunately happens in real life too, so just carrying that on. But I have like an idea in my head too that that's kind of how the main character Isla, I don't think I even said her name on here yet, the main character's name is Isla, she kind of figures out that these stories are real and this curse that's happening is real, and she starts believing it because of the indigenous population there who's been saying it for generations, that this is what happens in this town, this is what happens in this area. That's kind of what we're playing with right now. I'm gonna work on the outline and then have some fun, maybe do some genealogy at some point in these vlogs for this month. The book made me do math, and now I'm brain dead. So I went through and I did a little bit more of the info dump, and I kind of explained the plot aloud for the first time to Stephen and my sibling Jay. So now it's a little bit more solidified in my head. I was already starting to forget details of it. So that's helped a little bit. I feel like I just need to reiterate what I told them in a cohesive manner alongside the plot. Or I might do like a plot dump of like what I know in order of how it happens, as well as like a backstory dump of like how the curse works, and like basically all the information that the main character needs to figure out through the course of the book to break the curse, since that's kind of the main plot and the goal. So wrote that, and then I also had to do the generations. So basically the book is exactly 1,000 years from the point where the curse begins. So the curse officially in the book happens in Viking Age, so it happens in the year 1040, and then the book takes place in 2040. So I had to work backwards. It's 40 generations exactly, and I don't have names for all of them, but I definitely have them for the more recent ones, the original one. But I basically had to do math to figure out when each character was born, so I can figure out what historical events they actually would have lived through, so I know which ones are going to be really interesting to dive into in like flashbacks and stuff. I have all of that, but I had to basically work backwards to figure out when everybody was born, to know what historical things that they lived through, and to get that exact 40 generation mark. So some of these people in her family line had kids when they were like 14, because it's more historically accurate. Other ones had them when they were more like 45, I think was the oldest one, which historically you typically, and it's even hard today to have kids, you know, once you're a woman and you're 40 over, you know, in your 40s. But that's how the math kind of swung to make these dates work a little bit better. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I have to do it for the male love interest point of view, and then I can kind of just use those same dates for most of the other people. I had to unfortunately do math for that. And then I also was figuring out kind of their family dynamics. Yes, I'm very excited of having explained to them how the curse works, and everyone seemed, who I told just now, seemed very excited about the things that I have hidden in it. So And I imagine more things will pop out too, like as I'm actually physically writing it, I'll have more ideas, more things will connect. That's just how stories work for me. So I'm very happy with where I left off with this. I'm kind of at the point though where I think I need to brainstorm a little bit more on the actual plot of how it like flows. I've gotten to the point where in my outline she has met the majority of the really important and integral characters, and now I'm kind of like, okay, how do we segue this into the actual conflict? She's already kind of suspected that like the town's a little fucking weird, like some shit's going on she doesn't fully understand. She knows she has a weird history here with her mom, that she doesn't fully get it. Her mom's not around to answer questions, and her grandma's kind of cryptic. Guys, it is the 17th and I'm about to take lunch. I also have my dentist appointment today, so I'm not excited about that. I had to wake up earlier for work and everything, just so I could leave early enough to do it. But yeah, I'm still brainstorming on the Viking scene that I'm working on. I don't really know exactly how it's going to happen. So I'm kind of stuck on it right now, but luckily I have this other project that I can kind of flow over to. So I'm gonna keep working on the plot dump for my lunch break real quick. See how much I can write of it in 30 minutes. I'm kind of stuck on this as well because I don't know what's transitioning between how the main character is sort of finding out about the curse, or how she's planning on breaking it. Like, I don't 100% know how that setup is happening. It's kind of the murky middle-ish that I'm trying to figure out. And that's kind of where I left off. Yesterday I also did have to do math for this book, which I'm not happy about, but it was necessary. So I basically had to go through and I figured out all of the really important 14 families that are inside of the world that I've created, and kind of figured out their family dynamics. And then on top of that, I'm setting the book in 2040, and so 1,000 years beforehand was 1040, and that's when the curse began. So it's been exactly 1,000 years since the curse began, and there's exactly 40 generations of people in this cursed line. So I had to kind of go through, and every flashback or, you know, past generation that we're actually going to see, I had to figure out the names of those characters, and then I also had to go through and write down every single time that generation was born, basically so I could figure out like what historically they were living through, so that I can make references to it inside of the book. My plan kind of is that there's a new Harvest Moon game that's out, that's a remake of A Wonderful Life and Another Wonderful Life. They combined the two games together, which literally were me and my sibling were obsessed with these games. We used to play them on the original GameCube obsessively, and so it's now back and better than ever, and we can play it for the first time in years on the Switch, and so it's payday today, baby. So my goal is that I'm basically going to write my big ass to-do list, and my reward for doing everything on the list is going to be playing the fucking game. Today I might just play it anyways without having done everything on my to-do list, as long as I write something right now, and go to the dentist. Those are just my two main things. I should also go grocery shopping, but I might be too fucked up from the dentist. But as long as I write something and go to the dentist today, I'm rewarding myself with that fucking game. I'm so excited about it, you guys. You don't even know. I've been watching Jay play it, and I've been feeling such bad FOMO because I was like broke until today. So we're gonna play Harvest Moon. I'm so excited. at lunch and writing down the curse plot dump. So I definitely have all the information I think that she needs to know about the curse, or that I know about the curse at least, currently in its current iteration. 725, plus I had a line idea in my head that was 55 words, so not really counting this towards Nano because this is not the project I was supposed to be working on for NaNoWriMo, but here we are. So I have all this stuff about the curse, and I think whenever I write next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down all the tiny pieces of this curse, because it's really intricate and everything, and then I'll kind of like figure out what order she needs to discover things in, and then I'll be able to start placing them throughout my plot dump, and then I can turn all the plot dump into an outline with specific chapters. And with that in mind, I'll be able to probably start writing. I've never done it this way before, but this might actually really be working for me. Typically I'll take like little cue cards and like space them out and everything, but then translating that into a Word doc is like confusing, and then I have like little baggies of tons of cut up little cards, and then also just pictures on my phone of how the order was supposed to be, because I can't leave it laying out like that all over the place. So we're gonna kind of see how this version of me plotting and outlining kind of works. I've never done it this way before, and it just came super naturally for this book specifically. And every book works differently, so who freaking knows if this is gonna work, or if I'm gonna like this process, or if it'll work for another book. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm very happy with how this is coming along so far. My plot and curse dump is hitting around almost 2K as a whole, and yeah, it's very intricate, and it's simple. It's probably the only book that it's not simple, but like it is coming to me as just like a one book. Like I've been thinking like, do I want to make this multiple books? And the whole plot is them breaking the curse. So if that doesn't happen in book one, it's kind of like what else does happen to make it worth it. So I think this is actually going to be a solo standalone book, and I love this world so already. So that's kind of sad to think about, but I can always come up with like another curse or another thing that's weird happening in the town, because it's a really mysterious, cool town with a lot of things I want to hide within it. At the very least, if it's an actual standalone, it'll be easier to sell and to have interest with agents. So I'm liking that idea so far. If I do end up writing and just banging out this book, then this will probably be the next one that I actually query with, and this is just a brand new idea. So we'll see whether or not my passion for it stays long enough to actually get to that point. That's where we're sitting right now, and if I have energy later, I will probably start to finish that plot dump, and then another day work on the outline for it, actually breaking it up into chapters, and hopefully still I'll have some time to do some more 30-minute sprints in the Viking book. So today, hung out with my friend Faith, there's little Steven, and then we had a tour with our first person who was actually checking out the apartment, and oh my god, we got so fucking lucky. So we got super duper lucky first try. This person was perfect. I am obsessed. They seem really great. They fit in here really well. They're really, really cool. So they're gonna move in at the end of the month. So I told them, like, if you want me to cut you out at any point in the vlog, if you end up being in the background, just let me know. But if you see a random person show up at some point, that's who it is. I might introduce you if they want. I don't know yet. We will see, kind of thing. And then also, I'm going to be still working on the East-West whip. I have like a vague name. I really need like a temporary name, because I just have a temporary name right now, because I don't know what I actually want to call this book. I'm still working on the plot dump. I just made a new doc for like the reveals. I'm gonna put all of the reveals that happen in the book in order of which they happen, and then I can match them up in the plot dump and then put them into chapter outline. So that's what we're working on now. I'm gonna cook today, and then tomorrow we have work in the office. So that's the plan. goodness, guys. We are like over 3,000 words into this plot dump. I'm still in the middle of it. This is really like a really in-depth outline, and I think the only thing I'm really gonna have to change after this is going to be putting it into chapters, like cutting it up, because this already feels like a really in-depth outline, probably the most in-depth that I've done. And I don't even know necessarily if I'm going to need the reveal list, because I'm naturally integrating them into this outline, so I might not even need that doc. I might just delete it. But I would say we're probably on the outline about between the 30 and 50k mark of the book, but we're also already to the point where the main character still does not 100% know about the curses and everything like that, but she's starting to kind of figure it out. She's like, I'm putting 2 and 2 together on my own, thank you very much. So I want her to figure out soon, and I have an idea for how I want that to happen, but I don't know if I like it yet. Like, there's like two parts to the curse. There's the fact that people are cursed, the curse even exists, that she's been learning about, and then 2 is that she's a part of it. So there's 2 big reveals that need to happen pretty soon for the rest of the plot to happen. And I was hoping that this point would be more so towards like the end of the first quarter, sometime in the second quarter of the novel, but it seems like it's taking place more towards the middle. But then again, I haven't written the last of it, so I don't know. I'm in no way, shape, or form following right now the Save the Cat beat sheet, which is usually what I go off of, but I feel like this is naturally progressing in the same way without me having to formulate it exactly like Save the Cat, so this is definitely different format. Similar enough, but I feel like if you wanted to make it fit into it, you could, but I haven't even looked at the Save the Cat beat sheet book. So we're not going based off of that as all. We're just going me flowing and telling the story to myself with explanation, with when characters get introduced, when they have deep connecting moments with each other, when certain things are revealed, where they are, the essence of the scene, things like that. So I'm liking this method so much more than having to do cue cards and having to try and fit it into a beat sheet. So I think this might just be how my books are supposed to be, and now I might have to go and re-outline my other books like this. It definitely takes much longer, but at the same time, this is 3k words of pure plot, in-depth outline that I can use to literally go chapter by chapter. And I might not even break it up chapter by chapter. I might just write until it feels like a natural stopping point and then just move on to the next chapter. This might be a more free-flowing book from me, because it's all coming very naturally. The only thing that was hard to come up with was the dynamics of the curse, but now that I put in a lot of work to that, I'm really happy with it. And I was even explaining the other day the plot of this book and how the curse works to my housemate Keegan, and he was even like, oh my god. And Jay, my sibling, was like, this is what you should be writing. So I'm still not forgetting about the Viking book whatsoever, but I want to make sure that I get this nice and outlined. I might even go back and re-outline the Viking book, because I feel like I was getting to a point where I was kind of stuck with it. I might do it more this way, and then once both of them are re-outlined or outlined in general in this manner instead, then I'll go from flipping between the 2 to write each and do the first draft for each.
Look what Dad came home with. Ooh.
She wants the pink one. She requested pink one.
Oh, she's off. Says you got one too. Don't worry. Oh yes, go. No, sorry, you can't come back for a second toy.
Hey, it's like I'm deja vu.
Let's go. Let's go play with your new toy. No, Sathy, you stay for yours. Katara, come on. Look at this one. Katara, look. Pink. What, do you just want to trade?
She chose the pink one. You already got your slobber all over it.
She looked right at the camera.
The video is due tomorrow. If you can tell from the sound of my voice, I'm filmed because now I have strep. I love that going away present from the former housemate. Yeah. So I can't really talk. I was planning to film videos this weekend too, so don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. As far as being a good emotional support animal. And if this video doesn't come up until next week, it doesn't come up until next week because I'm very tired, my eyes are constantly watering, my voice sounds like this, and there's a lot of background noise because we have a heat wave, so I don't know how many I'm supposed to film, but you guys can hear all the AC happening right now. I got the fan going, and I have my portable AC because it's really fucking hot, but I'm also sick with a fever, so I also have a blanket, so there's no fucking winning for me currently. This is the first time I've actually tried to talk today, and it's like noon. So I just have a lot of meetings and a lot of people trying to talk to me, and my voice sounds like this. I had a great chat with my friend Devin though, and Devin helped me pick out the title for the East-West Whip, and I love it, but I'm also not ready to share it yet, just because I feel like it's a really good title, and that format I feel like will be taken by somebody if I share it right now. So it'll be shared once like I'm querying it. I finished the outline as well on Tuesday. I stayed up late and had my iPad in bed writing it out. And shout out to my sibling Jay for helping me with some of the points I was stuck on. Yeah, so the outline's done. I think I need to do some other things like figuring out some more character backstory and probably making like a map and like a layout of their condo that they live in, as well as the map of the town. Just little background things like that so I can better understand the town and how far away things are and the layout of everything, and it'll become later on in a more polished version extra bonus material for the book, should it get a literary agent and be published. Though I do feel like this could be a really good self-published book too. I think it's a good book idea, concept, with lots of things that people really like overall. So I have high hopes for this one, and I am planning to work on that alongside the Viking book. So I wrote the first like lines I think of the book the other day. They like came to me finally. I'm not 100% sure if I'm happy with it, but I'm gonna run it by some people and see what they think once I have like the first few pages. And then once I'm actually diving in deep to actually writing the story, then I will also be outlining the Viking book again, going from where I'm stuck on the story to the end of the book, doing it in the same manner that I did this book in, and hopefully it'll give me some more clarity on the plot, because right now the whole story is still very vague, and I just need things a little bit more concrete, especially when it's in my life. As you can clearly see, it's one sickness after another. It's just one thing happening and then another thing at all given times. My life is just a series of unfortunate events. So that's it for me. What are you writing? How's Camp Nano going? I've had no words of actual stuff, just outlines, and I'm okay with that for this month of just not doing anything Camp Nano wise. Hopefully I'll have some energy later to get this video out to you, and if not, hopefully I'm better by the time you see this. And I'm sorry again for the background noise. But I'm very excited about finishing the outline and moving on to some bonus material that'll help me understand the story better and help you guys understand the story better in the future whenever it goes out. And I'm excited to start writing it and re-outlining the Viking book and working on 2 projects at the same time, because I feel like this is probably what I'm actually meant to be doing, so I don't get burnout as often. And when I get a burnout on one story, I can go to the other story, and hopefully by the end of the year, both of these will be done. But if you like this video, remember to give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what you're doing for Camp Nano, and if you have any tips and tricks to do outlining, I could use them right now. And remember to subscribe for more videos that put the magic back into writing for you. I'm sorry I sound like this. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you, bye!